So I've got no intention of being a martyr. I've got no intention of finding myself in prison unless I have obviously no say in it. I've watched other people go to prison. I've known a number of them, and one thing that prison certainly does is that it silences you.
But you can't put yourself in cotton wool because over an issue that you believe in. But you have to be careful.
And there's opposition, strong opposition within the medical profession, but it is not as strong and certainly doesn't have the same political influence as the organised religious opposition.
Me, I'm an atheist.
I've never been brought up with a religious view, and I've not practiced anything in my life.
I don't believe that there's a God.
But I have believed in the well-being of humanity, and I've practiced that actively throughout my life.
I'd say I'm either agnostic or a humanist, and I couldn't define that. I'm not quite sure what that means.
And it's the religious lobby that's effectively meant that this issue rarely finds its way into the parliaments of Australia, and when it does, and it's voted on, as happened in Victoria recently, it's overwhelmingly voted down.
You know, I've got deeply religious friends who think I'm going to hell in a handbasket, and others who say, well, I think it's your choice.
Then working in this area and seeing the power of the church and just a whole lot of issues, I just thought, no, I don't believe in this.
I used to in my younger days when I had a young family, and it was interesting how I lost any religious faith I had.
I also recognise that many of the people that are in our organisation seem to have no difficulty reconciling their beliefs with the idea that people do want to have the choice at the time of which they die.
It was sort of happened in one day at my own church, and I became very angry at the way women were being treated in the mainstream churches. And I just thought, this is not for me. These are man-made laws, and gradually I just left that behind me.
Organised Christian religions, the Catholic Church has been particularly hostile towards this issue, but at the time when the debate was going on in the Northern Territory, the Uniting Church came out with a mildly positive and supportive statement at the time. So clearly there's a division of opinion within the Christian Church, and also I would imagine in other faiths as well. People said, okay, I had killed the patient. Then I'd walk straight out of there and immediately we're involved in the political battle with the raging debate in society going on all around it. So these were times that will be hard to forget.
So I have a mother now who has dementia, which is incredibly sad and very difficult to watch, and I'm the only one that cares for her. I have a sister who lives overseas, but I'm the daily. And she has no other relatives. But we have been able to achieve the fact that she now has a specific cover on her history, so that when anything happens to her, they do not ring the doctor or the ambulance, they ring me and we make a decision.
I know with my own mother, who died 5 years ago, she had dementia, and she very fortunately had a stroke, and which sounds a bit bizarre, I know, but we were all very pleased when she had a stroke, because we knew then that we would refuse all treatment for her and we would hope that she would get pneumonia, which she got. And then my sisters and I, because she had always said, don't ever, ever, ever put me in a nursing home.
Because what happened to my stepfather was they rang the ambulance, and then you are in a public hospital emergency, and the execution of some of your final wishes are more difficult, depending perhaps who's on duty on the day.
Well, it's a very difficult experience at the time, going to four people's place, taking your little suitcase, knowing that when you left, someone had to have died. It's a difficult time. I will never forget those difficult days. And
so when she got pneumonia, we just said no treatment. And fortunately, she was with us enough to be able to say, no, don't want anything, just let me die. And that's what we did. And we look back on that now. It's very sad that she's not with us anymore, but really pleased that we were able to do that for her within the law. We didn't do anything that was unlawful, but we're very grateful and pleased that we were able to give her that. So it was good.
People said, well, you must have really felt worried when you went in there. Bob Dent was the first man to die. I remember the day vividly. You must have come out of that thinking, gosh, have I broken some fundamental rule? I mean, at the time when he was about to press the button on the machine, I was sitting there watching him. I was well aware this was the first time in the world that this had ever happened. So it was a moment of significance. But did I have doubts about the correctness of it? No. I would have fought hard for Bob Dent's right to press that button and have the death he wanted. If Bob Dent didn't want to press that button, I would have fought for his right not to have to press the button. In other words, it was something which I felt was an important thing to do, and the fact that it was a difficult thing to do didn't make me think that it was because I was doing the wrong thing. It just was because I realised that this is a difficult thing to do.
I have never stopped working to help other people to live the life and have the death that they want. So if you wanted to live to the very last breath, I'll wipe your bottom, I'll sit on the board of management of a facility that provides you with the needs that you or your family need. But it's not what I want for myself.
It seems to me a natural corollary of the idea that we have a right to life. Now, if we have a right to life, we certainly must have a right to give that life away.